Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of my favourite people, some of the world's biggest stars, and a man who won 2 gold medals at the England 2010 Commonwealth Games. He's one of the most talented men in Britain. He's one of the biggest stars. If only he was attractive, I think he'd be really, really popular. Tom Daley, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm all right, but I'm not as good as you, let's face it. I mean, my life, in comparison, is quite miserable. It's not going bad for you, really, is it?
I mean, I feel very lucky, but I mean, my life isn't that interesting, but other than going to and from the pool each day, to be honest.
You say that, but you've got love, you've got a child, you've got happiness, you've got health, you've got a career. I mean, it's all the boxes most people want to tick. It's come together beautifully.
Yes, I feel very lucky, to have a husband that loves me and a little baby that I love more than anything in the world, to be sure.
We're talking today on YouTube, and I've got this very tiny little channel compared to yours. It's interesting, isn't it, how you become best known for things that you were probably not expecting. Who'd have known you'd have 100 million hits on your YouTube channel? You found a whole new market there.
Is that how many views I've got on my channel?
Yeah, I was looking last night. It's depressing. I've only got 26 million. It's a bit depressing, really. I thought I was bigger than I was till I met you.
Oh, funny. Yeah, that's been a little project that I've been doing, actually. And it's something that I quite enjoy doing that's like kind of takes my mind off of the diving a little bit. So I post every Sunday at 6 o'clock is my YouTube schedule. Is
it a pain in the bottom? Because, I mean, you've basically got a film everywhere you go. I noticed your last one was you getting on a plane, and of course you've got the baby there with you. I mean, it's a job doing this stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But then it's something that I did A-level photography at school, so I've always kind of had that like interest, and then I stopped taking so much still stuff. And it's also really nice to be able to look back on the things that you did and to be able to have a record of where you went, what you were up to when you went traveling to those particular places. So I kind of feel lucky that I can look back on that as well.
It's an extraordinary life, and there you were, I think, yesterday going to Guatemala, and the day before you were in Russia, and the day before you were in Japan. I mean, I guess travel must be the thing that's the snag, because you've got to go to these competitions, haven't you? They don't come to you.
Yeah, I mean, traveling is part of part of the job, I guess. All of these different competitions across the world, and it's important that I get there and compete and do the best that I can. And it's like one of the reasons why I've teamed up with Quaker Oats to get the daily kickstart, to have that routine, so that wherever I travel, I'm able to get onto the time zone and feel good with my day, because there's so many people, especially in the research that we've done for the UK shows that people snooze their alarms, and then also first thing they do in the morning when they wake up is they're scrolling through Instagram, going through emails, and people aren't getting as much sleep as they need, and lots of people skip breakfast as well, and it's such a crucial part to be able to get the most out of your day. So it's something that I've got loads of tips on Quaker Oats UK Instagram as well, so you can go check them out. But it's something that I think lots of people take for granted, is their morning routine to be able to get the most out of their day.
Seems bizarre to me that people are still arguing with this. I mean, since I was a kid, the one thing that your grandma always used to tell you is start the day off with a proper meal at breakfast, because it will set you up for the rest of it. I mean, this is not new philosophy, but people still argue with this, don't they? And they still fight science, which is put the biggest meal in earlier on in the day and it will sort of keep the fuel going until you go to bed.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't run a car on empty, so you can't really run a human being on empty either. So making sure that you have the fuel in your body at the start of the day allows your brain to work properly, allows your body to work properly, and especially as an athlete and as a parent, there's so many things that you have to be doing and running around all the time. You want to make sure that you're fueled, ready for the day. And, for me, every morning, the easiest thing for me to make is a bowl of porridge. And, there's all kinds of different things that you can do with that as well. Even with Robbie, there's like make oat bars, or if I make overnight oats, he loves all of that stuff.
I noticed in your recent YouTube video at the end, there you are in your Speedos. I'm thinking probably you're avoiding the full English breakfast. It's something like Quaker Oats is the perfect sort of slow release energy stuff, because that's what you need, isn't it? Something to last forever, not something that's going to give you a load of stodge and make you sink to the bottom of the pool.
Yeah, exactly. Loads of like sugary breakfasts and things like that can it's always good to have slow release so that you're able to actually get the most out of your day. Like for me, doing a training session, I need to be able to have energy throughout that whole training session and throughout the day, not just for 30 minutes. So for me, a nutritious breakfast is really important.
Tom, you mentioned there Robbie, and I look at you with this child on the video, and it looks like you were born to be a dad. It looks like you love it, and you don't even seem to get frustrated with the annoyance of sort of the constant attention that they need. This is perfect, isn't it?
I've always wanted to be a parent for as long long as I can remember. I was one of those, I guess you could say it was weird, but I didn't think of it as weird. When I was 16, I bought Robbie's first baby clothes because I've always wanted to be a parent. And, you know, it's been such a magical thing for us, and it's really hard to explain how, you know, you don't realize that you could love a little human being as much as you can love your child. There's something that's so special about it, the connection, the way that it changes your perspective on everything, the way that it changes everything you do for them. And it's, you know, you hear about parents saying that before you're a parent, you're like, okay, I get it. Like, okay, I've seen a million pictures of your child. I don't need to see any more pictures. But you can't help it. You just feel so proud of every single little thing they do, whether the first word, their first steps, crawling, rolling over, laughing, smiling, all those first things, and it's to be able to see the world through their eyes for the first time again. It's like you get to relive your life over again.
Watching him watching you is so beautiful too. I mean, you literally were taking a plane trip somewhere, which is a logistical nightmare. But the one thing you said in the video, you do it so often now, it's no different to getting a cab into town. I mean, it's just part of your life. It's the life that he knows.
Yeah, I think we always said that once Robbie was born, we wanted to be able to, you know, carry on our life as normal and have Robbie be able to experience as much as possible. And, you know, flying was part of that. I mean, he was born in the States, so flying over here when he was 4 weeks old when we flew over to the UK with him. So it's, you know, he's been flying from day dot.
I'm amazed the love this country still has for you and continues to throw at you. It was such a beautiful childhood in a way. We watched you grow up. We saw you become a star. And then, of course, falling in love and having a baby, it just seems to continue to be this circle of love. Do you feel that from the public? Are you aware of the affection that we've got for you?
I feel so incredibly like when I'm walking around the streets, if someone comes up and says hello, you know, people talk to me as if they know me, and it's something that's so, I don't know, there's something really special and comforting about that. They'll be like, oh, like if I had an injury, like how's your arm, or how's little Robbie doing, and how's Lance, and all those, like, just asking little questions like that. It's, I don't know, it's kind of surreal at the same time that people know so much, but at the same time it's really nice that people are so warm and friendly towards me.
And I think it was partly to do with your dad and the fact that you were so in love with him and the mutual respect and admiration. It must be tough for you talking to me today, sort of thinking about him, because, of course, we all want our fathers to sort of be in our lives and enjoy it with us. I guess he's with you every day, and you think about him every day. Do you, all the little moments with Robbie?
Absolutely. I mean, he was my biggest cheerleader, and we named our son after my dad. So, you know, that is one thing. And then also, you know, he was there for my first World Championship win. He was there for my first Olympics. But yeah, you're right. He never got to see me win an Olympic medal. He never got to see me compete in London. We never got to, you know, go on our first driving lesson together, or our first pint down the pub, although I don't really like beer, but little things like that you miss. But yeah, of course, like everything, like you realise and you appreciate everything your parents did for you so much more when you become a parent, because you think, oh my goodness, the amount of times that you had to get up in the middle of the night, the amount of nappies that you had to change, and I can't even imagine what it's going to be like. I'm just thinking how my mum and dad used to ferry me and my brothers to all these different things we used to do after school, going to school, going to see friends, all those things. It's, you know, you really learn to appreciate what they did for you.
And in terms of coming out, I honestly think it was a defining point in our society that people sort of changed after you came out, because there was such warmth and love. Are you aware of that within the LGBT community, there was nobody who seemed to snarl or stare or care even? It was remarkable.
I was so terrified that day you know, because there were so many different ways that I could have said or done it. And to be honest, the way I wanted to do it was like on my own terms. And that's why I did the YouTube video, because I was able to say everything exactly how I wanted to say it without saying too much or being asked questions. So I was able just to post that. And it was, I mean, yes, it was terrifying, because I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to lose all of my sponsorship and funding. Everyone on the team's going to hate me. everyone in the public, I felt like I was going to be stared at and all those things. But actually, it was the complete opposite. And, you know, people poured out so much love. And yeah, of course, there's always going to be people that have the opposite opinion. But, you know, that feeling of being able to be authentically me and being able to compete as me is something that I think is really powerful, because it was such a massive weight on my shoulders. So to be able to lift that off, and if like some kid somewhere saw that and thought, you know what, okay, maybe I'm not so different, maybe I am worth something, maybe I can be someone even regardless of my sexuality, then I think that can it's now looking back on it, I hear people tell me that, and it's crazy, because of course I never did that for that reason in the first place, but to hear that I might have helped anyone is it feels quite surreal.
Well, and you've only got to look in the comments under the video and just see how many people you've helped. And it's interesting, again, in the last couple of years, there's been another development, hasn't there, with your community, that, suddenly gender is not even a thing. There's not even boys and girls anymore. So we're moving a step forward again. It's an interesting time, isn't it, in humanity, how we're all sort of changing again, and our perception of what is gender and that stuff. It's fascinating how the world continues to move.
Yeah, I think it's all about, people are very much listening to people and listening to the way that people think, because everyone is so different, and I think we have to embrace each other's differences, because there's so much, the way that you think about, oh, that person's different, this person's different, oh, that's wrong, when actually different is a good thing. Different is a different perspective, a different point of view, and listening and learning from those differences can help build bridges through communities to be able to, make change. And I think that's something that's really important. And
thank God for that. I mean, I'm deeply unattractive and ginger. I mean, if different isn't good, I haven't got a chance. Do you know what I mean? Have you felt any negativity? I mean, especially when you're with the baby, with Dustin, is there anybody who ever has the audacity to look at you, say anything? Do you ever feel that? Or is it now a point where we don't need to talk about this anymore?
I mean, lots of people have said things online about, same-sex parenting, but when I think lots of things have changed. Like there's, when people that you would think would have a problem with it actually see us in person with Robbie at a restaurant or walking him around and playing at the park or whatever it is, they see that we are a family, because there's, what is a family now? Like there's so many different variations on what family is. And I think as long as the child is loved and cared for, I think that's the most important thing.
I think national treasure is often overused, but I think you really are. And when you grow up in the spotlight and you become the man that you've become today and remain sane, I think that's such an achievement. How hard was that? Is it the discipline of the fact that you can't indulge in certain things that has kept you on the straight and narrow? Because it can't have been easy for you to be as big a star as you were and not slightly go bonkers at some point.
I just think of myself as a diver. And that's it. There's nothing that's that special about it. I'm so lucky to be able to do something that I love to do every single day. And, I tried to work hard at school. I tried to, do the best that I can with diving. I'm lucky to have a husband that supports me, and I feel incredibly lucky to have a son that I absolutely adore, and my mum is amazing, and my dad was an incredible support system for me. So to have the friends and family and support system around me, it's very much a team effort.
And very quickly, in 10 seconds, where are you physically in terms of your life and career? Are you at the top, 10 out of 10, or how are you feeling this second?
Well, this second right now, we're in pre-season training, so everything's very sore. But, it's moving forward into Tokyo next year. I just got to keep working hard, and hopefully it will be a good games.
Follow Quaker Oats on Instagram to find out more. And Tom Daley, we love you very much. Thank you for your time. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you.